What if I told you the Chicago Bears might be setting up one of the most unexpected roster shakeups of the entire season, just days before their Week 12 showdown with the Pittsburgh Steelers? Yeah, things are getting that interesting in Chicago. The Bears have been moving fast, working nonstop at Halas Hall, and today's news might just change what we see on the field this Sunday. Chicago didn't just bring in a couple names, they quietly pulled in 4 veterans, each with something real to offer. And trust me, the reasons behind these moves are worth paying attention to. But before we dive deeper, if you love the Bears and want to keep getting breaking news, take 1 second right now, hit subscribe, tap like, and smash that bell icon. That's how you stay ahead of every twist this season brings. Now, let's talk about these new faces. Chicago hosted 4 veterans on November 18th, evaluating every snap, every rep, every detail. And they didn't leave empty-handed. The team ended up signing one of them, and honestly, it wouldn't be surprising if another deal is coming soon. First up is Jaylen Reeves-Maben, a high-energy linebacker and special teams standout. Bears fans might recognize his name. He earned Pro Bowl honors in 2023 and brings the kind of experience and burst that can impact a game immediately. Ben Johnson knows him well, trusted him before, and clearly believes he can help Chicago right now. Then there's Charlo, a tough, disciplined linebacker who played at Army before landing with the Bills. He's smart, physical, and the kind of grinder that coaches love to plug into competitive situations. Next on the list, Jackabe Windham. Honestly? Surprising he's even available. He flashed real potential in his rookie season and brings the kind of speed and agility that defenses desperately need in late-season battles like this one. And finally, Dominique Hampton, a player Chicago recently saw during his stint in Washington. Big frame, versatile skill set, and a name worth keeping an eye on as the Bears evaluate depth for the stretch run. The message is clear: Chicago is preparing for something. They're tightening the roster, sharpening the edges, and getting ready to punch back at a Steelers team that can't afford to overlook them. And trust me, what happens next could be even more interesting. Stay with me, because the next update might just catch everyone off guard. News broke quickly once Adam Schefter reported it. The Chicago Bears have officially added linebacker Jaylen Reeves-Maben to their practice squad, and honestly, this move makes a lot of sense for a team looking to stabilize the middle of its defense. Reeves-Maben isn't just another depth signing. He's someone who can step in and help immediately, especially with the Bears dealing with inconsistencies at linebacker in recent weeks. His experience alone lifts the room, but his real value lies in an area Chicago has struggled with all season: special teams. At 6 feet 1 inch and 226 pounds, Reeves-Maben brings leadership, speed, and proven production. He captained the Lions, came out of Tennessee, and was drafted back in 2017. And if anyone doubts his impact, remember this: he earned Pro Bowl honors in 2023 strictly for his special teams performance. That's not easy to do. Sure, he can play defense too. He put up 82 tackles in 2021, but Chicago is bringing him in for the one thing he's elite at: changing field position with smart, aggressive special teams work. Last season alone he racked up 20 tackles, nearly all on special teams, plus a forced fumble, a sack, and a pass breakup despite limited defensive snaps. That's exactly the type of reliability the Bears have been missing. Another important detail: Reeves-Maben already has a strong connection to Ben Johnson. They've worked together before. Johnson trusts him, knows how he leads, and understands exactly what kind of energy he brings into a locker room. Chicago isn't just adding a player, they're adding a veteran voice, someone younger guys actually listen to. Now let's shift to Charlo, the East Coast linebacker who's been grinding his way around the league with the Jets, Ravens, and Bills. Chicago got an up-close look at him during preseason when Buffalo came to town, and clearly something stuck with the coaching staff. Charlo is 6 feet 2 inches, 225 pounds, and only 24 years old. He played his college ball at Army, went undrafted, and worked his way into the league the hard way through effort, discipline, and special teams. That's the kind of background Chicago loves to evaluate late in the season when teams start searching for reliable, high-motor pieces. He's another player who built his reputation by embracing the unglamorous work on kickoff and punt units. If the Bears want toughness and consistency in that phase of the game, Charlo fits that mold perfectly. These moves may not dominate national headlines, but they reveal exactly how the Bears are thinking: patch the leaks, add leaders, and strengthen the areas that decide tight games. And trust me, more decisions like this could be on the way. Stay with me, things are just getting interesting. When you look at the players Chicago brought in, there's a clear theme. They wanted guys who can change the game on special teams. And Jimmy Charlo fits that profile perfectly. Sure, he has the tools to help on defense when needed, but his real reputation comes from the relentless energy he brings to the kicking units. In preseason alone, he piled up 11 tackles, 10 of them solo, along with a pass breakup, 2 quarterback hits, and a pair of tackles for loss. But the part that jumps off the page? 9 of those tackles came on special teams. He was a straight-up missile for Buffalo, sprinting down the field as a gunner, blowing up plays, and showing exactly why coaches love having him around. And when they did unleash him on defense, he showed real flash in blitz packages, quick off the snap, aggressive, and absolutely fearless attacking the quarterback. His college resume at Army explains why. In his final 2 seasons, he totaled 121 tackles, 52 of them solo, for pass breakups, multiple forced turnovers, 3 sacks, double-digit QB hits, and 11 tackles for loss. That's production you don't just overlook. With his size and speed, you could even imagine him shifting into a hybrid defensive back role in certain packages. He's that versatile. Now let's move on to Jackabe Windham, and this is the part that genuinely surprises me. How is he not on someone's roster already? Windham spent last season with the Panthers, and for a rookie, he did everything you could reasonably ask from a depth linebacker. The guy is built like a modern hybrid defender, 6 feet 2 inches, 250 pounds, strong enough to set the edge but athletic enough to drop and chase. And if you watched him at Michigan State, none of this should be shocking. He was explosive, disruptive, and consistently around the football. At just 24 years old, he's still growing into his potential. Even coming in as an undrafted player, he showed traits that make coaches stop and look twice. With a little development, he's the kind of player who can carve out a long-term role on any defense that knows how to use him. Chicago evaluating him now sends a message: they're not just looking for bodies, they're looking for impact, toughness, and players who can step in and help immediately if needed. And trust me, the next player on this list makes the picture even clearer. Stay with me, because the last 2 names might be the most interesting ones yet. Jackabe Windham is one of those players you can't help but root for. Carolina used him as a depth linebacker last season, but anyone who paid close attention saw the flashes of something more. On special teams, he flew down the field with the same urgency and burst he showed in college, and whenever he got defensive snaps, he made them count. He finished his rookie year with 22 tackles, most of them on special teams, along with 13 solo stops, 2 pass breakups, a sack and a half, 2 hits on the quarterback, and a tackle for loss. That's not the stat line of someone who's just there to fill space. That's production from a player who makes the most of every opportunity. Which is why it's still surprising that Windham ever slipped through the cracks on draft day. His college tape at Michigan State should have spoken for itself. Across his career there, he stacked up 233 tackles, 123 of them solo, plus an interception, 6 pass breakups, and 9 forced fumbles, 6 of those in a single season. Add in 18.5 sacks, 45 quarterback hits, and 27 tackles for loss, and you begin to see why Spartan fans still talk about him like a secret weapon. He's 6 feet 2 inches, 250 pounds, big enough to hold up on the edge, quick enough to play in space, and versatile enough to move around depending on the situation. That's the kind of frame that gets defensive coaches excited. He plays with purpose, with attitude, and with the kind of chip that only comes from being overlooked. And honestly, a player with that combination of size, production, and motor won't stay in for long. Chicago taking a look at him now is smart. Even if it's just the practice squad, it's the kind of low-risk, high-upside move contenders make. Now, the Bears didn't stop there. They also brought in Dominique Hampton, a hybrid defensive back linebacker who spent time with Washington. He's built for today's NFL, physical enough to play in the box, athletic enough to move around in coverage, and versatile enough to plug into multiple roles depending on the matchup. Hampton came into the league with real expectations. Washington liked his intensity, his willingness to hit, and the upside he showed in limited defensive snaps. He didn't get as much field time as he probably hoped, but the traits are there. He's strong, he's aggressive, and he plays with the kind of edge that translates well to special teams and sub-packages. Chicago bringing him in signals something important: they're looking for defenders who can adapt, who can be moved around, and who bring a spark wherever they line up. Hampton fits that mold perfectly. And trust me, the more you look at these signings, the clearer the picture becomes. Stay with me, because what these moves reveal about Chicago's bigger plan is even more interesting. Dominique Hampton is one of the most intriguing players the Bears brought in, a hybrid defender with the size of a linebacker and the movement skills of a safety. He originally played linebacker in college before transitioning to defensive back, and you can see that blend of roles every time he steps on the field. At 6 feet 2 inches and 220 pounds, he brings a physical presence you don't usually see at safety. He's only 24, came out of Washington, and even crossed paths with Kyler Gordon during his time there. Washington drafted him in 2024, and his preseason numbers instantly showed why he was worth a look: 13 tackles, 6 solo stops, 2 pass breakups, 2 quarterback hits, and a tackle for loss. He wasn't just covering, he was attacking. Hampton plays defensive back the way some players rush the passer. Big, fast, and fearless. His final season at Washington says it all: 109 tackles, 65 solo, and an incredible 14 pass deflections. That's not normal production. That's someone who finds the football, disrupts plays, and refuses to back down from anyone. He also has that undervalued ingredient coaches love: a chip on his shoulder. He plays like someone determined to prove he belongs, and that kind of hunger can change careers quickly. And that's what makes this entire workout group so fascinating. Chicago isn't taking flyers on random names. They're looking at players with real upside, real production, and real tools. Guys who can step in on short notice and contribute. Players with versatility, explosiveness, and experience in multiple roles. These aren't just bodies, they're sleepers with genuine potential. So when you look at the Bears bringing in talent like Hampton, Reeves-Maben, Charlo, and Windham, one thing becomes clear: Chicago is preparing for the long run, building depth that can matter in December, and maybe even beyond. And trust me, the next few days could get even more interesting.